Alright then, so for a while now I've been planning to make a video discussing gaming mice on a whole, and what to look for in gaming mice if you're either new to it or buying a new mouse. And basically, I suppose, talk about a couple of the mice I have used and the advantages of them in my opinion, or the pros and cons of them. So first things first, if you're very new to gaming in general and might be looking at getting a mouse for the first time, you might be currently using a mouse that looks like one of the three that I have here. Now these are all pretty run-of-the-mill stock mice that you might get with a computer or buy for $20 or less when you first get a computer or first get into gaming or whatever, or move away from a laptop. All perfectly functional mice. All of them have worked fine their entire lives. I've used mice like this for uni for a long time now, and I've still managed to get a degree. It hasn't impaired me in that sense. They work 100%. And value for money is good. However, they aren't going to perform necessarily as well as gaming mice for gaming, because the sensors aren't as good a quality, and their, I suppose, potential to last with heavy use isn't as good because their build quality isn't as good. Which may lead on to say you may come across people using a mouse that looks similar but isn't necessarily identical, which looks a bit more like this. Now, this isn't necessarily one of them. If someone can let me know in the comments below, that would be lovely. I got given this as a gift. It doesn't work, but I was told it was an Intelli mouse, but all the information is rubbed off of it. They're a very famous Microsoft mouse. They're used by gamers all over the world because they're just really good quality and work consistently. However, the sensor in them doesn't poll at the same hertz as other gaming mice these days. Now, when discussing hertz, it's basically the speed of the connection between the mouse and the computer, to be, keeping things simple. So that's something you might be worth looking into if you want to go for a bit of a budget option. Some do sell cheap on eBay and the likes. And it's a comfortable, ambidextrous mouse that works for most people that use it. Lots of people swear by it, but for me personally, it isn't quite what I'm after. Now, when we're looking, I suppose, for spending a bit more money, going up to possibly around the $60 Australian, or $60 USD, which is a bit closer to $100 Australian now. Basically, you want to be making sure that you're spending your money well. Now, what are we looking for? We're looking for a quality product that's built well. We're looking for comfort in the hand, and we're looking for a good sensor. Now, I personally think out of those, the most important one is comfort, because if you're going to be gaming, you want a comfortable mouse in your hand. Quality, in my opinion, is the next most important, arguably, and the sensor third. Now, the reason I say the sensor third is not everyone is wanting to be a professional competitive gamer. And really, the sensors these days are all pretty good. There is a slight difference, and there are some that I'll recommend shortly that are better than others. However, when it comes down to it, you want to buy a mouse that will suit your purpose and be comfortable while you do it. If you want to be a professional Counter-Strike player, go out and buy a mouse with an amazing sensor, because it will be that tiny weeny bit of an advantage over people that don't have one. And usually they don't cost any more. In fact, in some cases they cost less to buy a mouse with a good sensor. Therefore, bring in the Steelseries Rival 300. Now, I have two of these. I've done lots of videos on them before. I love them to bits. Great sensor. Only for the right-handed though. Really good build quality. And by far, in my opinion, the best SteelSeries mouse to date. So we're going to categorize these, other than having the dodgy thumb pads, as I've talked about in the past, that's apparently fixed. We're going to categorize these as high tier mice. In this same category, although I don't have one, I will put the Razer Deathadder. I get asked almost every day by people getting sent messages on YouTube, even though I have 100 subscribers, saying Steelseries Rival or Razer Deathadder. I've talked about it in previous videos. I prefer the Steelseries Rival because the Razer Deathadder is too small for my hands. Now, in that category, I'm also going to place the Zowie EC1 Evo. Lots of people have mixed opinions on the Zowie company. I personally really like their sensors. I think they're good. From my experience, they are good. Very comfortable again, but for me, just a fraction too small for my hands. Again, this is a right-hander's mouse, so if you're using your left hand, you need to get an ambidextrous mouse, or, I don't know, play with your right hand, which I have friends that do, which doesn't make sense to me, but good for them. So they're going to be the 3 mice that I will consider in the high tier for this video. Below them, I'm going to group everything together, because I think once you get out of that wanting an amazing sensor, it can go either way. So let's talk about, for example, this is a Steelseries Kinzu. I picked this up for $10, which I think is amazing value for money, which is one of the things I've talked about before as being important, is good value for money. This was down from 50 to 10 in a sale on Scorptech, which is an Australian retailer, and I don't regret it for a second. It's a great backup mouse. However, in this generation of SteelSeries equipment, there was a lot of issues with not being able to get rid of mouse acceleration because it was built into mice. Now, I personally haven't used this enough to say whether I think it's an issue, whether I think there is mouse accel that you can't get rid of, but it's just not quite the quality of build of the other ones. Still great though, and if you're a beginner or you're buying a mouse for one of your kids, for example, they look absolutely gorgeous, they keep really well, they're relatively good build quality, and if you can get one for $10, then why not, I say. So we're going to put that in the under tier. Similarly, if you prefer a different shape, you could go for something like a Logitech G9, which has a thumb rest, a bit wider, a bit smaller, a bit more chunky. Again, a good sensor has its issues. For example, the mouse cord fraying is something that I know a lot of people have had happen with this mouse. However, again, I haven't personally used this one. This was a gift, as much as some people have, but again, I think it's a quality product. Will take an absolute beating, but isn't quite on the same level as those other 3. Now, going back to price, we've got $10. This actually retailed originally for well over $100 Australian, I think. Don't quote me on that. Whereas all the mouse above are $100 or below Australian. The SteelSeries Rival Fade was $100 for the paint job, basically. The Rival in the black is about $60 Australian, and the EC1 Evo is about $80 Australian when I last checked. Right, you'll have to excuse me, sorry, my camera just ran out of space, so I've had to make a quick cut. But basically, the next thing I was going to talk about is if you're into having complete customization, a nice looking mouse that's a bit, I don't know, futuristic, then maybe the Rat 7, Rat 9, Rat 5, there's a few different models by Cyborg / Mad Cats could be for you. You can basically customize how far back the palm rest is, you can take off the thumb rests and finger rests or move them forward or back. You have all kinds of buttons and gizmos and stuff. You know, if you're really interested, go have a look. You know, it's a cool looking mouse, quite well built, but these can cost up to $200 Australian. And coming with that is not the best sensor. They're not particularly well renowned for that. And this one actually has a dodgy click, so the left mouse button does not click at all. It did get a fair bit of use and wasn't treated particularly well before that happened though. Nonetheless, it's worth considering if you're into that kind of thing, which basically means now we've discussed the 3 high tier mouse and 3 lower / under tier mice. And the last one I want to talk about is actually the first gaming mouse I ever bought, which, as you can see, has been absolutely thrashed. This thumb pad is also off. I've just forced that back on. I've re-glued the thumb pad on this side off a lot. It's a Gigabyte M8000X Ghost, for those of you that may not recognize it, which is actually a laser sensor rather than an optical sensor, which is sort of more popular these days. And I absolutely love this mouse and swore by it, and it still works fine, even though the thumb and finger grips are completely destroyed. However, I think I kind of just outgrew the quality of it overall as far as the sensor goes. Hence why I've moved on to bigger and greater things. However, this actually costs $65, so it's only a few dollars cheaper than lots of the other options. Therefore, I'm going to put that also in the under tier, as the laser on it isn't particularly flash. So basically, we'll pretend this is an Intelli mouse. I'm going to put that somewhere roughly in between the two for personal opinion. And then these ones here, which are the sort of more standard mice, I'm going to throw down the bottom. So basically, you can't really see them particularly well. I'll just come back with the camera a little bit. You've got your EC1 Evo, your Steelseries Rivals, your Razer Deathaders, your Intelli mice, then you've got your G9, your Kinzu, your Rat, and your Ghosts, and then your standard Microsoft mice. However, the reason I haven't said a huge amount about sensors in particular is I honestly believe that they're only a big deal with current quality of products and brands, as long as you're getting sort of a household name. They're only a big deal if you're really wanting to push the limits in a competitive aspect. If you're into playing, RTSs casually when you get home from work, really the main thing for you should be comfort, because you're not competing against anything as far as, I suppose, a face-to-face serious competition goes. You're just aiming to have fun, which is why I think comfort's important, because that'll be what gives you the most pleasurable experience. That being said, honestly, the top mice I genuinely think are well priced, have great, if not the best sensors currently available, and are also, I can't even remember what the third thing I was saying was, hold up 1 second. A quality product, sorry. I feel like a bit of an idiot. But that's what I'm getting at, that's what I want to talk about. If anyone would like to know more about any of these individual products, please leave a comment down below, like and subscribe and all that jazz. Sorry this video's gone on a while, I just wanted to cover sort of a few of the basics for people that are just getting into gaming, or just getting into competitive gaming, or just even looking for a new mouse. So yeah, thanks for watching everyone. Stay safe, have fun, peace.